So we're back and I've arrived at game two in your series. How do you feel about this map, Andy? Like, what are your thoughts? Did you make any decisions about it? Tell me.
Well, yeah, this is Raghna's pick, of course, the C map. Um, he's quite good on C, and I think most of the other people in our league aren't as experienced on it. So it's a good choice from him. I did play a few practice games with someone. I won't give away who um, to get ready for this, but
Whatever.
yeah, definitely felt like I wouldn't be the favorite on this map.
No kidding, right? That good to hear you practiced outside of the game for your league match.
Mm.
Something I've tried to do a little bit, prepare for my opponents, of course.
Uh,
But this map, it's like there's a lot of intuition in Navy, I suppose. Are you comfortable playing Navy? Like, what are your thoughts about the matchup or just that theater of the game?
I think I've got definitely more of an idea than I did a month ago. I think I know what's strong for each faction and
Interesting.
which units I should be spamming.
Okay, so
Mostly
was
learned
it
that from Ragnar.
Cortex has the better sub, is it, or is it ARM? I always forget.
Cortex is yeah, probably better. It's the more heavy, so costs more but does more damage. I think overall is probably the better two. Arm
What
have the Dolphin, which is really good. The like submachine gun light boat.
is that like the frigate? Sorry. Is that what
No,
it was
the
looking
one
like?
top right there on the build
I
menu.
see.
I accidentally built two of the other ones there.
The scout ships.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. That's down to my lack of experience playing C.
Huh. So for those of you who are interested, I actually made a build order video for this map. Or actually, was it Ragnar's week 4 versus Goopy? I took those replays and figured out kind of how he likes to open on those maps. So for those of you who don't have an open on a C map, I want to check that out. Could be interesting to you.
So I do know
So
Ragnar likes to go core, and I do know he likes to go heavy on the subs. So you can see I'm sending one of
mm,
my initial cons to take the middle area, and
mhm.
that's purely because subs can't get into that area. And I thought with Dolphins he wouldn't be able to contest it.
Yeah, is that a torpedo launcher he built? Did I
Sorry?
in that mid? It was, sorry, did you queue up a torpedo launcher with that construction vehicle we see kind of going towards the mid, or are you
No,
making one?
just a radars. But
Okay.
the shallows around the top left and bottom right of the mid area blocks subs moving in.
Oh, so excuse me, I misunderstood you. So that center part of that reef there, subs can't get into that area.
Yeah, correct. And I know he
I,
likes his heavy sub play, so I was kind of concentrating on trying to get that and thinking he wouldn't be able to
mm,
contest it for a while.
it's interesting. I didn't even consider that because sub play is such a huge part of the Navy game. It's because you have, ships on the water, ships below water, and then of course air units. So it's like a balancing act, so to speak, or even a rock paper scissors effect. And subs are hard to deal with in this game. You need the radar coverage. You need sonar. Of course, they're expensive and slow moving. So, do you do you counter? How did you decide to counter that with what units, or is it more like what were your thoughts
Well,
on that?
I've not had too much experience fighting this, so I was just kind of theory crafting stuff and seeing how it went. So initially I was going to make my own subs and hopefully with the extra metal I got from the middle be able to kind of outproduce him a bit. And also later I was going to switch into the destroyers, the ones with the depth charges.
I haven't seen how effective those are against subs. Like, is that a decent counter to it? Like, you just need the economy to support it, or is it?
I'm not too sure. I've only
Okay.
played it. Yeah, Ragnar's probably the one to ask on that. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'm so
I have
ignorant to all
rough
this
ideas,
stuff.
but yeah, a lot of it is I'm kind of learning as I play as well.
Battle paused.
Well, what a good opportunity, having this as a Ragnar's home act. That was probably a great choice, just getting the free win, I suppose, every week, playing a C map.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's beat him yet on it.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough game. I've had a few matches, hosted a few lobbies on this map. If you want to throw down sometime, I'd be happy to play on this map, of course. Y- what was this week 7? We're going into week 7. Like, who's your opponent, or are you done playing your games?
Yeah, so this was week 6 against Raghna. Week 7, I'm against Goopy, and that's my last game.
Very cool. And of course, we have a match on Heartbreak Hill on Comet Catcher, so I'll try and look at those replays, see if they're worth casting, or I'm sure they'll be worth casting. Goopy's a strong player. I really like his playstyle. I'm not sure how many times you've had the chance to play against him or not.
No, he's definitely one of the top 3 players.
Really strong micro player, really aggressive, I'd say. It's kind of my interpretation of his playstyle. Good control. It's interesting. We see these radar signatures here. Was that it's like a sonar and a radar, the ones we produce in the water rate. So we see those signatures in the top mid.
Yeah, so the sonar range isn't as long as the radar range.
Correct. And we hear those torpedo shots going off, so you instantly pull those back. I guess this is like...
Yeah, so I know his subs have started rolling now. Well, swimming.
Alright, new phase of the game, I guess, and he's able to bring... Those are light attack boats. How do those do fare against these, was it Corvettes or the Dolphins?
Dolphins do better, but he's just got me quite outnumbered. However, because I've built the underwater mechs, he can't actually kill them yet. You need a destroyer to kill them, because the subs can't get there.
That's kind of... I mean, it's pretty cool to see. That's a really strong play. I mean, 3 free mechs in the middle of the map is no joke. Kind of when we go split map, at least, or at least in this phase of the game where you're trading, that you're not quite sure where you're at economically. So really cool. Raghna with a little bit of a miss micro there. I'm not sure what to call that. He ran past a torpedo launcher, took a lot of damage on that sub, and you're trying to deal with it with your own sub. This is a really frustrating part of naval games. The sub versus sub micro.
Yeah.
Just another mini game. Yeah.
Don't think the vision of subs is great as well, so he probably didn't see the top launcher until it was already shooting at him.
What are you spamming now? Are those the Dolphins?
Yeah, it's still the Dolphins. I just wanted to take back control of the middle area.
Low power.
Good idea. Is there... You have decent income, I suppose, working on getting more wind energy at the moment, so you're adding on some with your commander. We're 7 minutes into the game. Is there anything you're thinking about now, kind of looking forward, or like what is your thoughts on your position, what have you?
I think this map is a lot of kind of mirroring your opponent back and forward, checking which lane he's trying to come through. So I'm just trying to, secure my half and react to hit the moves he does. So he's switched into the frigates now. So I think probably best if I do the same.
Yeah, right. So you just come back to your factory, have those on repeat command, it seems like?
Yeah, I was just building Dolphins for now because I think my thought process was that Dolphins OP, so just build them. If he's switched off the subs and can't have any subs in mids, I'll just keep building the Dolphins to try and retake that.
You're camping this, was that torpedo launcher you managed to get up? There's 2 construction under...
Yeah.
Low
2
power.
construction bots, 2 subs. Okay, so you're kind of like turret creeping in that top lane. You're stepping into the middle part. It's a decent trade, seems like. You can't get the submersible reclaim bots in there as well from the naval factory. So you need a... What is it, a ship, a construction ship? I'm kind of blanking on the name. And you need that in the mid to get that reclaim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the normal construction ship.
That's an interesting consideration. Like the naval trades you make in the center part can't be rezzed, essentially. So That's just kind of interesting. Interesting point. So we're adding on torpedo launchers in the top and middle lanes and securing your half of the map. So kind of classic bar playstyle seems like.
Yeah, it's feeling quite good at the moment, surprisingly. This was a bit of a misstep, I think.
Yeah, torpedo launchers are so good. Lost 2 subs there. Stepping forward, what is that? Like 6-7 dolphins. You're gonna get.
Yeah, this was not a good trade.
It's so awkward. Getting that flanking damage. You see, we've taken out one of the radars. That torpedo launcher took so much. They're pretty tanky, and you traded a lot there for really not much. So
yeah, I think I gave 3 subs and maybe 8 dolphins for just 2 torpedo launchers.
Yeah, that's.
So that lead I thought I had has probably just disappeared.
Yeah, you have a lot of construction turrets, a lot of build power in your main base, a lot of mass in the bank. Plus 800 energy. I want to say you're maybe a little lacking on E. We see you're adding on a bunch of tidal generators as I say that, so.
Yeah, and I just reclaimed quite a lot of metal in the middle.
Very good. It seems like that. It's unfortunate we made that trade though, because can't really contest that position either as far as like the amount of mass that is sitting right there. So you know he's just reinforcing that position, getting that reclaim, and looks like he's feeling confident enough to step forward. This is the part of the game on this map specifically where I'm not quite sure what to do, honestly. It's like, what units do you start producing?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure myself, so he had a lot of frigates, and I assumed that the answer would be to make dolphins and destroyers for myself.
Lost.
Dolphins to fight the frigates and the destroyers to kind of fight off the subs.
There's a lot of subs there in the water. You don't have any right now. Is that 1 destroyer I see? First 4 subs?
Yeah.
We have another one rolling up to the middle, looks like, so that destroyer goes down and you're kind of forced to retreat now, seems like.
Yeah, the subs get a lot of value. Raghna.
I don't know about your position here, Andy. You just lost your navy, and that's a lot of ships that are kind of broken into your side of the map, so. You can start raiding here, you can send subs wherever you want.
I think it's quite clear who's the
lost.
The experienced seaman and who's the floundering noob.
It's unfortunate. Do you have any like maybe intentions to practice this matchup, or is there you're just like we'll wait till next season, or what are your thoughts kind of coming out of the matchup, coming out of the week?
Well, I don't have enough playtime to practice everything, so I think if I was going to sacrifice one thing, C would be that thing, since it's only 1 game a season maybe if Raghna picks it again.
Right. I suppose so. So interesting pick from him, and of course I've been, as a spectator, I've really enjoyed having all these naval games to cast. It's really been cool.
Metal extractor lost.
And even though I'm quite inexperienced at it, I do feel like playing these kind of games against Raghna, you do learn quite quickly, because you're playing against the best at this kind of game.
Right. Really helps improving, of course, playing players who will punish your mistakes and not let you get past the point of the game. It'd be interesting to know his thoughts on some of these like attacks he made in the center of the map, or like his thoughts on unit composition. So maybe something we could cover in our future videos. Just his kind of like post-season recap on this map, what he learned, what his insights are. So, I mean, we're 13 minutes into the game. It looks like he's retreating now. I mean, you have to feel behind in the game. What are your thoughts at this moment now?
Just trying to hold on, trying to figure out which units I should be building mostly, because yeah, it's hard to stop this kind of frigate sub
radar lost
mixture. It seems to do really well against whatever I throw it in.
That Cortex, frigates, and subs here.
The frigates are just they have a lot of HP for the metal cost, so they can just tank everything while the subs do the damage. So the frigates do really well against the destroyers, but I need the destroyers to kill the subs.
Metal extractor lost.
See if your commander continued to be cloaked there. Is that a construction bot by him?
It's one of the resurrection subs, I think. Just trying to capture
Metal
it.
extractor lost.
It's too fast.
Yeah.
Tried to block it in, but that didn't really work.
So you played a second game after this. You were messing around with the naval planes. How did that go?
Yeah, after this game we did play a fun game where I tried out seaplanes. Don't know, I didn't do too well with them, and then later in the game he transitioned into them and beat me with them.
Metal extractor lost.
Classic. So, that's unfortunate losing to the young thing you tried surprising him with, I'm sure, at some point in the game. From what I understand, they're like a tick 1.5. They're a little pricier than other units, or what you might expect. Did you?
Yeah, I think I didn't. When Raghna did it against me, he kind of fully committed to it. He reclaimed his shipyard and just put all his build power into throwing some out quickly. Whereas I kind of tried to do it in conjunction with my C, and it didn't seem as effective. I don't know if that's a thing.
Too expensive, even. I mean, we know that naval units are very expensive too, so it's have to have a strong economy, I suppose, to produce both. Which I imagine you're certainly capable of. I mean, there's a lot of mass on this thing. I mean, it's a huge map, right? So maybe at some point it would be worth, because they have the torpedo bombers, which is, it's kind of like the opposite of the sub, right? I mean, if you have air control, you have this like dominant position, I suppose, that your opponent really can't attack or deal with. Just kind of like when you have the subs in the water. So a lot to Navy, a lot to balancing the 3. And hopefully I can have the chance to make some more videos on this.
He had broken off some of his army now and was pushing through the bottom. And I did feel like I was maybe starting to swing things at the top, just because he'd not been reinforcing it.
Right. You can see that on the minimap, yeah, like you pointed out, a little bit of a pressure there. You see those torpedo launchers are going off?
Yeah, he's just outranging it with his frigates, which I can't afford any units to send down there.
Right.
Because he's just eating this as he pushes forward.
It's like your destroyers are keeping you in the game, it looks like. You're just using their range to keep his army back. It's nice placement there on those 2 torpedo launchers. We can kind of see the shot of them there on the bottom left. If he steps too far forward, you can kind of kite back, and he can't come through that choke point really without really committing to an attack. So, really strong naval position. It would be really nice if you had the 2. I suppose the choke point he's controlling is giving him control of that middle part, and of course denying you that mass on that top lane. So. This is a tough position, and naval battle's kind of watching this with you. Seems just a little slower, more attrition based, right? It's like you just camp the position and wait for the person to make a move, right? I mean, Raghna has to know he has a lead at this position, so you don't need to force the issue.
Well, I think this was a good moment for me. I kind of expected to push at top, so I had my units ready to disengage and managed to get some damage at the bottom.
Yeah, it was like a pre-move. I see you swung those destroyers to the right and down. He steps forward through that gap in the middle lane, but you have all this reclaim on the bottom, and now you're going to pull your 2 navies together to try and hopefully take this out. This is a tense moment too. I mean, he's got a lot of destroyers right there. If you can push him out of this position, I mean, you have control of the reclaim field, which would be a huge play.
Yeah, I felt like things had swung my way a little bit back now. I was trying to position my commander to try degun his units as he retreats.
Through that channel, looks like. Okay. Gonna cloak the commander, it looks like. We're trying to bring him out of the water. We kind of talked about this earlier. D-gun, the D-gun bugging out. So many shots going
Radar
off.
lost.
Not the best trade, I'm sure you
Metal
would
extractor
like all
lost.
those units, and yeah, our commander goes down. That was a tense moment there, checking out what Raghna has here on the map.
Yeah, I felt a little hard done by at the end there. I feel like those first two D guns hit nothing, which I think it's to do the interaction of the sea depth
Right. That's
and the units. Because I
yeah.
think the first two D guns I targeted ahead of the units, and I think the D gun attacks the ground, which is at the bottom of the sea, so they kind of miss.
I'd have to agree with you that the positioning of that commander and the trajectory of those naval units, it looks like you got a really decent shot off there. So definitely definitely different than what I expected. But that's the end of the replays. Andy, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us about this and go through those two games. Is there anything you'd like to say at the end here?
No. Thanks again for having me. It's been a pleasure. Always fun to talk bar.
Yeah, really appreciate it, and thanks everyone for watching with us. See you in the next replay, and yeah, catch you later.
Cheers.